name is Alice from the kvm-tec support team, and with this video I want to show you our new switching manager. Our new switching manager is an API-based program and it can be downloaded on our homepage. To download it, go to kvm-tec.com, go to products and features and go to the download area. You also can find further downloads in our support site. After you have downloaded our software, double-click on the installed file and our installer will install the software on your PC. Please consider that our software consists of two parts, the front and the back end. Both are important. When you install the manager with our installer, you just accept the agreement and the installer takes over the rest. And please make sure that both the front end and the API are getting installed. After the installation, you can immediately start the front and the back end. In the foreground you will see the API itself, and in the background the installer will automatically start a web browser. What you can see at the beginning is that the backend will show you some information about the system status, the devices that are connected, and some other background information. For you it is important that the switching manager API, so the backend, is running all the time, so don't close it. Next important step after the installation is that you need to tell your firewall to allow all the communications. Our manager software will communicate with your switching system via port 5000. In our example, we will have the Windows firewall. You can see I just allow the access. If you have any other firewall, please also find a way to allow the communication between the software and the network. As you can see in our example, our testing environment consists of a few units. And the next important thing is if you want to use our system, for example, redundant, you will need to change some settings. And that's the next step I will show you here. Before that, maybe please also note that if you want to start our API automatically after booting up, make sure that the API itself is in the auto start of Windows. So with that you can ensure that the manager is booting up after, for example, a power loss. Back to the settings. One of the first things you need to do is to enter the correct network card. To do this, we can simply log in our front end. To start with it, our standard password is admin and also our username. Our standard user is admin, so we can log in with that. We could also use Active Directory, but for this example we won't use it. What you can see now is our settings file. You can find our settings file in your local app data folder. In this example you can see my name, app data, local, the folder switching manager, and within this folder you can find another folder which is called data. Here you find all the important files and settings of our manager software, especially the settings and the switching manager database. In the background I opened the settings XML, and with this you can configure our redundancy, for example, and I will show you how to do it now. A further notice maybe, on this screen here you now can see our settings XML. As you can see there are multiple entries, but the only things you really need to change are the failover peer and the multicast group start and end addresses. The failover peer is what makes our system redundant. So for example, if you have two installations of our manager software, both need to be able to find each other. And that will be done with the failover peer entry. What you do here is that on the first installation, you enter the IP address of the second computer, and on the second installation, you enter the IP address of the first computer. For this example, we use 192.168.0.2. This would be the second address or the second installation. And on the other computer, we would use 0.1 for the failover peer. For our example, I will now switch to the multicast group start and end addresses. This is important if you need different multicast addresses than our standard addresses. For example, if the customer tells you to do so, or if there are special requirements. If you do not enter anything there, we will use an address pool which starts with 224. For our example, we use 239.110.10.10, and we will end with 239.110.10.10. .50, which are 40 addresses for multicast streams. Please note that our extenders or our local units will use two multicast addresses, one for video, one for audio. At the end, please don't forget to save, and after that you will have to reboot our manager API. After the reboot, it loads all the settings, and now the devices should boot up with those settings.